your patience. I know those of you who were on, if you saw the post, I said 4 p.m.-ish. My kids had a dentist appointment today, so we're just going with it.
I got stuck at Walmart.
Yeah, Billy got caught in the madness at Walmart. Hi, Facebook. Thanks, guys, for your patience. Get seated here. We said 4 p.m.-ish. Oh, did I just bonk your name?
That's
so
okay.
sorry. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Totally killing my friend here. Kids had dentists today, and then and Billy just said for the Instagram folks that that you got caught at Walmart.
Caught at Walmart.
Yeah. We didn't even pray.
I know.
Should we pray really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so those of you who follow the Glorify Project, you know for the most part we're God-fearing people, so we're going to pray. Usually we pray before we start, but go ahead.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Dear Lord, we just come before your throne of grace and mercy, and we just thank you for this opportunity to come together as a Glorify Project and connect with our friends and family on this live. Father God, I ask, Lord, for great questions, great communication, Lord, and Lord, let your words be the words people hear. We
Yes,
give
Lord.
you praise, we give you glory, we give you honor. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. Okay, let me share this to my Facebook really quick. So episode 2, we're here, we're live. Oh, cat's trying to creep in. We do have a cat at our house, so hopefully she stays away. I mean, she can come over and say
coming.
hi. Yeah.
She'll be coming over.
Her name's Pepper. She's gonna come say hi. Just let me show this real quick. Okay. So we last episode we did our first introduction.
Yes.
Billy last time started the role of the show. So, but those of you who don't know, this is Billy.
Hi.
And I'm Emily, and we are the Glorify Project, and we have more members and a board. And we are here to serve women in a crisis pregnancy or experiencing an unplanned pregnancy. And not just women, we're here for the dads too. And it's not just about the baby, we're about the full family unit.
Exactly.
For moms, we've lived this, we've experienced, we've lived the testimonies that we have.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you want to say just in starting or?
No, we're just super excited. We have some up and coming news for the Glorify Project. First and foremost, our vision is still for us to get a maternity home here in the Willamette Valley. That is not going to be tomorrow or next week or anything, but that is one goal that we have. And we just really feel like the Lord has asked us to kind of shift things around. When we first started, we were really gung-ho, like let's get a house, let's get people rallied around us. We made some really good connections. We were all fired up. People around us were fired up. And then everything kind of like smoldered a little bit. Mm-hmm. So we're just kind of like, what's going on? What is happening? And as I was reflecting on that on the way here, with the shift of what we're planning on doing, I think the Lord was just like wanting to see how far we were going to go with our yes. We said yes, and He took us in this direction. We just kept following His steps, and just there's a lot of teachable moments in what we're doing, from fundraising to connecting with people to trying to keeping those communications open. So we're really learning in this process, and I think the Lord just had also all decided that we need to take a step back, really evaluate what we're doing, and really tune in to what the Lord has been saying. Because Emily's been really feeling the Lord has been saying from the get-go, really, that our testimonies are what we need to be talking about the most. And we've kind of been doing that on the side, but we've been really more focused on the house. So it's been kind of like a tug of war of what we should be doing and what we should not be doing. So we come to the conclusion that yes, first and foremost, the vision is the house.
Yes.
But in the process to that, we are just going to shift some things around. And we're very excited to announce a bunch of different little things. Again, we are not just for the women, we're for the whole family unit.
Yeah, 100%. And like Billy said, we, I think it's easy to we formed a nonprofit. We're an official 501c3 in Oregon. And we definitely knew what God has called us to, and it is to women, pregnant women in unplanned pregnancies, and dads who want to keep the baby, and even women post-abortion. And I think we just didn't know what we wanted to lay for the foundation, and so we started out, we have testimonies, and the women on our team all have testimonies around the subject of abortion. And then we had wonderful friends who have a testimony, and they had a connection with a maternity home, and so it just kind of went in a natural direction. And not that that was wrong at all. And again,
No.
like Billy already stated, we do believe end goal that we will have a maternity home, but the Lord's really been putting on our heart, re-putting on our heart more recently, that what's the current need? You know, what, as we speak with women, we haven't even had a woman in the last 6 months that we have served, in the sense that we've been serving women who are either pregnant or had like an ectopic pregnancy, was the last woman we counseled. And so it, like Billy said, early on, we knew the Lord had said, I want you, you know, you're healed, you've come through what you've been through. And so now it's time to share your testimony and make yourself available to women.
Yeah.
So that's the heart of the Glorify Project, that we're here to share what we've been through and let women know they're not alone if they have a similar diagnosis or experience rape. And so we've shifted gears a little bit. So we don't want anyone to think, well, wait a minute, you know, we've given, we like your vision of the house. That is coming. It's just the Lord's having us take 2 steps back. And because unless someone provides a house, or all of a sudden somebody provides $100,000 or something, you know, which can happen. We're not putting God in a box, right?
Nope, not at all.
But the Lord has actually given Billy an idea, so you can share what we're thinking right now for this next end of the year.
Yeah, we really want to focus on what is happening now. Again, a lot of the things that we want to talk about too is things that are happening around the election season.
Yeah.
And as a pregnancy resource group, most of the time we get a lot of, you're just here for the baby, you're just here for the baby.
Yeah.
Yes, we want the baby to live and to thrive and all of those things, but we also are here for the women and for the dads. We don't ever want to discount the dads that want to step up and want to be a part of, our program. So what we've decided to do, and only because through my experience, my daughter had a baby 8 weeks ago.
Woo-hoo.
It was unplanned, and her boyfriend chose to keep him. His name is Clayton, and he's the cutest baby
He
in
is
the whole
so
world.
cute. Got to hold him on Sunday at church. It was awesome.
He's got this little man face. He's just so freaking
he's so
adorable.
Precious.
But going through with her to her prenatal classes, which they do classes now. Back in the day when I was pregnant, we would go to the doctor, do your checks, and then off you go. Well, now they do classes, which is wonderful because you get to be in a room with other people who are in the same time frame of pregnancy, 3 weeks, 4, 5 weeks, all the way to pregnancy of birth. And we were sitting there one day and we were talking to the group and we're like, hey, do you guys have your baby showers? Because we're getting ready to do Maya's. And the whole room was like, there were couples, but there are students here at OSU, and they were like, no, we don't even have family around here. We have friends, but we don't really think those friends would really step into that role because they're not close like that. They're more acquaintance type of situation. And that broke my heart. That really broke my heart because, my daughter has myself, her family on board supporting. Her boyfriend's family is supporting them, so they have this, and my friends,
extended family,
exactly, are just rallying around, and to see these couples with nothing, no one, and one lady had a baby during COVID, so she didn't get to have a baby shower then. She's had her second baby, and she didn't feel like she deserved to have a baby shower because this was her second baby, and I was just. You have to at least
shower.
Come on. So that's been something that kind of lingered in our hearts for a little bit. And as we were revamping what we want to do, we're like, what can we do right here, right now? What's tangible? What's doable? Doing baby showers for couples or even women who are doing this alone and they want to, have the child and raise a child. We want to celebrate with them. We want to be able to do a baby shower for them. We may not know who they are. They might be in a room full of strangers, but it's full of strangers that want to support them and love on them. And not only just with the baby shower gifts that are needed, but we want to give them resources, if they have to go to DHS to get food stamps, health insurance, transportation, if we need to, show them directions of counseling. That's what we want to do. And we can do that right here, right now.
There's an actual need right now.
And it's also great for you guys who are supporting us, who have given to us, because now you can actually tangibly see that your money is actually going to these women and these couples.
Yep.
So we're super excited for this shift, and we have great members on our team that are great organizers and they keep us on budget.
Yes. And on task.
Yes.
Because you were like, all over the place.
Squirrel.
Yeah. So jinx. We both said so. And what's really great too, we were saying, because we, like Billy said, we have so many supporters who aren't local. Obviously, we're in the Willamette Valley of Oregon, not Oregon. For those of you who don't know how to say Oregon, we're in the Willamette Valley. We're hoping, when it comes time to get a house, it'll be in Corvallis. That's where we are. But for those of you who, whether it's our family or friends or those who have found us on social media, we want to set up an Amazon account with like ongoing items, baby items that say you feel led to buy a pack and play or diapers or wipes, and that's something you provide at every shower or one shower. And so you don't have to be here in person. And we've already, raised the funds that we have for the Glorify Project. And it'll be a great way that you can go, and you could even, if you've ever bought something on Amazon as a gift, there's that option that says, is this a gift? Mm-hmm. And you can, sign it and make it a little note like, God bless this baby, God bless you. So it's just a great way for those of you who aren't local, and people can come to these showers if they want. But we were even just saying, because we may even have a mom. Yeah, exactly. Laurel just said, thank you. You said what I'm trying to get out there. Laurel said Amazon wish list, brilliant idea. Exactly. Laurel, we need you here helping us process what we're saying. But yes, exactly. An Amazon wish list. And then, because we were saying there may even be a girl, depending on her situation, who may not want, we said the pomp and circumstance of a baby shower, but does have very real needs, like first baby needs. And, who says, again, with that Amazon wish list, we just put either her address in there. And so this list of items just goes right to her house or her apartment or wherever she's staying. And she doesn't even have to have a shower with us. You know what I mean? But she gets all those needs that she has met, without having to have a shower. But our heart is that we could rally around them, love on them, if they're open to it, pray for them, bless them. And again, that's the heart of the Glorify Project in general, is that not only our testimonies we want to share, but we being the hands and feet of Jesus, and then providing the resources women need. And because we know, if you talk to any of us in the Glorify Project, the biggest thing we all have in common in our testimonies is we had friends and family around us, but there were things I wish people had said to me that no one said to me, or very few people said to me, that we want to say to the women in need. And then for those who didn't have the help and the resources on our team, we get to now be those for others. So, so that's where we're shifting to baby showers. Billy saw that need. We just had a board meeting on Sunday, and everybody was like, this is what we should do. And again, it's not taking away from the house. It's just the current boots on the ground, in your face need, So,
and I think it also lets people in the community know that we're for real, that you are really here to do this for the women. Yeah, that's good. As our saying lately is, we're boots on the ground. Yeah. We are on the ground. We're running, and people sometimes just need to see that things are actually being done. And it is worth investing into our organization, and we're also praying that we can, this will link us even to some churches. We've been to a number of churches. Yeah. And I'm just going to say it. I think because of our testimonies, they're scared to have these conversations. 70% of women in our churches have had an abortion, and they're sitting there, and we're missing. We are missing them. And it's so sad and so heartbreaking. So, hopefully this type of transition will also lead us to bringing more women into our Thursday night meetings that we have once a month, called Rise Up. Yep. So, people can say, why are you doing this? Or what caused you to do this? And then this open door for us to say, well, this is my testimony. Yeah, without being like, hey, I was raped and I had a baby. Yeah, and then they're like, whoa. Yeah, like pump the brakes. Yeah. Some people are that way. Yeah. I don't have that counseling in my church right now. So this is just a way for us to kind of skirt around the issue, without being in your face where people are just not able to handle that at the moment. So.
Totally. Oh, you have an alarm? Is that okay if I hit
I
stop?
guess our time
Sorry,
is up.
we're done now. Bye, guys. No, just kidding.
Sorry.
That's all good. No, I think that's great. So, yeah, it's so funny you said that because this last live, our first live, we said all we needed to say, and it turned out really great. It's on YouTube. If you missed episode 1, it has uploaded to our YouTube.
Woohoo.
So if we're official on there, it's even under a podcast tab. So it's getting real, folks. But we got done, and we both had said, oh, we didn't even mention how we meet once a month at our local church. Are we saying our church? Is it okay to say the name?
King Circle.
King Circle Church. And it's really easy to find King Circle Church in Corvallis because it's on the corner of Kings and Circle, which I think is brilliant. We were just telling our dental hygienist that that's where we go to church, and I go, you can't miss it. It's on Kings and Circle. But so anyways, once a month, third Thursday of the month, 6 to 7. Now in the new year, the time may change a little bit because we've been talking about some schedules, but for now, 6 to 7 p.m. at King Circle Church, third Thursday of the month. Just come. You don't have to talk. We'll share our testimonies. If you want to talk, you're welcome to talk, and we're just there to encourage you, love on you, have some snacks. If we know people are coming, we will provide snacks. Sometimes if it's just me and you, we have our water or coffee, and we just pray. The Lord's actually told us there's been times where we've spoken to the whole room and no one's been there. My house heat is turning on. I apologize. I told Kenny, I was like, with the weather getting colder, we have an older house, and when the heat turns on, if you can hear it, maybe you don't hear it. It sounds like a rocket ship taking off. So we're gonna get into a studio here one of these days. But
that's a goal.
So that's the latest update. Was there anything else updating wise?
Nope, I think that was
just kind of
right
shifting
now.
direction. And really quickly, as far as we did talk about this on Sunday at our board meeting. What's really neat is when God gives you a call, or you've been through something, and then God uses it, for a purpose and on purpose and for a purpose. Sometimes you can just, like we did, we heard the Lord say, number one, we met and became we're best friends now, but we met and we had similar testimonies, and we just started running. We knew God had told us to go, and so we started running. And where some people, if anyone were to say, well, why the big shift? One, it's not a big shift, but two, when you hear the voice of the Lord, Laurel, if you go to YouTube, there should be and just search the Glorify Project, it should come up. But I should link it here. It should be on a post on Facebook. And if you're able to copy and paste that and share that in the chat, that would be awesome. But when the Lord, told us to go, it's like, if you've been a kid, we've all been kids, and your dad calls you or your mom calls you, and you start running towards his voice, like say you're out playing in a field and your dad's like, come home, and you start running in a direction, right? And then you hear him say again, come on, come on. All of a sudden you're like, oh, he's over here, and you're pivoting or you're shifting. He showed us it's like that. Like God can give you a general direction. You start running in that direction towards his voice, and then he directs you, right? He shifts like, oh, actually I'm over here. And so that's where we feel like this, little bit of a shift or change has been. It's nothing major. It's just, he's just putting on our hearts what the current need is. So we're excited. So we hope you guys can partner with us. We'll have more information. We'll get that Amazon wish list put together. And share that here on Facebook and Instagram and everything. So we wanted to shift gears and just talk about, we're 18 minutes in, maybe for 10 minutes-ish, talk about, we're not going to go too in-depth in this episode. We want next episode, which is a few days before the election, next episode's going to be way more in-depth on some of these topics that we know there's mis and disinformation around the topic of abortion, and the pro-life movement. So we wanted to talk for a few minutes about that today, but next week, join us, because we have some facts now, but next week we want to make kind of a fact, like clear the air, set the record straight around the topic of pro-life and abortion, because if you're following politics in general, or the messaging from politicians, you're not getting the whole truth.
Right.
So Billy had a couple things she wanted to share, or that you had been like, that's not right,
Yes, and again, we'll talk more about this on our next podcast. But for me, And it was just recent, like last week I came in pretty hot.
Yeah, we had
After
to
reading
pray.
some
We
posts.
prayed.
Yeah, she had to douse me with some holy water to calm me down. And I was like, can you believe that people are trying to associate abortion and miscarriage?
Mm-hmm.
They are not the same.
Yep.
I know because I miscarried my baby, and I
Mm-hmm.
know medical terms
Yeah.
is that your spontaneous abortion.
Yes.
Your body did that itself.
Yep.
It's one thing when your body does its own process for whatever reason it's happening. That is far different from being on the table
Mm-hmm.
and having someone dismember your
Yep.
baby to
Yep.
come out of your body. Those two completely different, and I find it really disheartening, and it that we don't even want to really talk about miscarriages very much. It's been a topic that we've all been saying we don't talk about this very much, and yet we still don't talk about it very much.
Mm-hmm.
But then to turn around and tell these women, "Oh, you aborted your baby." No.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I wanted my baby.
Yeah.
I love my baby
Yeah.
as much as I loved my first son, who was from a rape. You
Mhm.
know, there's no distinction. My baby was my baby for me, and so yeah. So topics like that.
Yeah. Yep. Ectopic pregnancy is the other one. I had a couple
Yes.
little notes on that. When my kids were getting their teeth cleaned, I was doing some research, just so that, because we want you to be informed.
Yeah.
And it's a good topic to talk about. I think sometimes because it's a highly emotional and a highly charged topic, which is why, like Billy was saying, when we've met with some churches, they kind of look at us like a deer in headlights, because we are talking about an important topic and we've been through it, but they don't know how to address the whole
Yeah.
church on that. And I think that's even something the Glorify Project can come alongside churches and help them,
Mhm.
provide a space for women to go, and that's our heart. So Laurel, thank you for sharing that link. There's the YouTube link
Yes,
there.
thank you.
So an ectopic pregnancy, because we get that one a lot. We have people ask us a lot too, apart from miscarriage. And an ectopic pregnancy is, I know a lot of you know these things, but for those who don't know, and I'll try to keep it as non-graphic sounding, but an ectopic pregnancy is a baby that has implanted, so a fertilized egg that's implanted outside of the uterus. Sorry guys, if you dialed in, plug your ears. No. That's implanted outside of the uterus, usually in the fallopian tube. And so it's the baby didn't end up where it's supposed to end up, right? And 100% of the time, a ectopic pregnancy, if left untreated, will kill the mom and kill the baby.
Yeah.
And so this is where it's difficult, because it's a nuanced, the term abortion, this is where they will use this gray area, they being those who want to really push the topic of abortion, pro-abortion, will say you have to have a right to an abortion because of an ectopic pregnancy. But, and you look up the term for the removal of that in some medical reports or medical journals, they will use the word, an abortion. But what's funny, when I was Googling it, and even using AI, which, AI is neither here nor there. But what's interesting is when I asked AI, the procedure that removes an ectopic pregnancy medically, is that an abortion? And AI literally came back and said, no, terminating an ectopic pregnancy is not considered an abortion. And this is where our country, women need to define abortion. Abortion is defined as an intentional procedure. I even add the word willful, an intentional willful procedure, because it's your will making that decision, right? An intentional willful procedure decision that ends a pregnancy that's in the uterus. The baby is where a baby should be, while an ectopic pregnancy treatment aims to save the life of the mother to prevent the pregnancy from continuing, because what happens is a baby, unfortunately, who implants outside of the uterus in the fallopian tube, it will grow. A baby will start to develop and grow, and it will cause the fallopian tube to burst, because it's not meant to form there. And that's a life-threatening thing for a mom, unfortunately. So the procedure there, which the last woman we counseled had that exact experience, and it was really heartbreaking. And it was, when I say wonderful, we were happy that we were there for her.
Yeah.
And the counseling for her was literally, she just wanted to cry with us. That was it.
Mhm.
Like, and we encouraged her and loved on her and prayed for her and offered resources. but it was really she just needed to sit with people who understood.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was difficult, but it was wonderful in the sense that I was glad we were there for her.
Yeah, for sure.
So when people want to argue that we have to have the right to an abortion, the other thing that we need to make clear around ectopic pregnancy is, because they'll make the point. Oh, sorry guys, I'm gonna swipe. Let's see if it swipes to stop. Apologize. Did it stop?
No.
Nope. Oh, sorry guys, hold on a second. Oops, I don't know.
Pull it down.
Pull it down the top.
Yeah. There we
And just
go.
hit stop.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry guys, one sec. Oops, how do I get Instagram back?
Hit the button, the
Which
square.
one? This square?
Down at the bottom.
Down at the bottom. Down here, square.
And right
Pull
there.
this back up. Awesome. We're learning one thing at a time. How do I
Sorry,
close
guys.
the keyboard out? Square too?
Yeah. Oh,
Nope.
Nope. The other one.
We'll get there. I want to be able to see the comments for us, but I don't know how to pull it down. I don't know. Oh, we'll figure it out.
On the bottom, that first one, I believe.
This one?
Yeah. There it is.
Billy is literally, Bobby, if you watch the replay, Billy has literally come into her own as our tech expert.
Yeah, I'm channeling.
No
Bobby.
joke. Like, it's unbelievable. So Billy is our go-to tech person here. But so back to what we were saying though. The other thing people argue with an ectopic pregnancy is they say, the states have to have a right to an abortion because of ectopic pregnancy, and that's where procedurally there's no state, even the states that have an abortion ban, and the reason why I say like this is because there are those who are so militant about that, like, oh, it's an abortion ban. Yeah, there are states at the local level that have banned or have heartbeat bills or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But in the states that have maybe severe abortion restrictions, it does not restrict an ectopic pregnancy being treated.
Mm-hmm.
So they use these gray areas, politicians and politicians, we'll just say politicians,
Yeah.
use these gray areas to manipulate this conversation. So Laurel asked, is TGP a 401? It's a 501c3 in the state of Oregon. So they like to argue those, just like with miscarriage, like these gray areas that what we need in our country is a definition of abortion.
Yes.
This is what abortion is. It's a willful, what did we say? A willful, intentional procedure that ends a pregnancy that's in the uterus, period. So ectopic is not one, and it's not, you're not unable to have the procedure to remove an ectopic pregnancy if abortion is banned in your state. Because I think I even read that in Texas has pretty extreme abortion laws, extreme as defined by those who don't like them, right? Yeah. And it's not against the law to have an ectopic pregnancy dealt with. So it's just, we need to, do your due diligence.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Don't even take our word for it. I do have, when we come next week, we're definitely going to have some more cited facts, but, don't take the mainstream media's word for it. Don't even take the Glorify Project's word for it. Do your own research, do your own due diligence, because there is real mis and disinformation out there that's intended to mislead. And we work with these women, and we've been through it ourselves.
Yes.
But we've worked with women often, and we know the devastation of those who believe the lies, if you will. And it's heartbreaking. Is there any other thing you kind of wanted to?
No, I think that was pretty much it.
Sure.
Because we're gonna, really focus on this on our
next week.
podcast.
Yeah.
But do come with questions next week too. We want to have an open discussion. We don't want to be like, oh, you're wrong. I mean, even if we feel that way. But in honesty, we have to have open conversation. We have to be able to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. How do I say? Pro-choice is really not a choice.
Yeah.
It's one option, and that's abortion.
Yep.
And pro-life is more open of being pro-choice.
Yeah, of all your options. You have your choices.
Yeah. You have all your options. We have people who've been through the whole process of, from abortions to infant loss to being unable to have children. who've had an abortion, so you can hear all the stories, and through those stories, you're the one that gets to still make your decision.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the day, and if you decide to go against what we believe, that's your decision.
Yeah.
That's between you and God, and if at that end of that situation you decide or feel that that wasn't really what you wanted, but you don't feel like don't have nowhere else to go, we're still here. We're still open arms. We don't just turn you away and say, "Oh, you went and did that. Well, then we're done with you."
Yeah.
No, that's not it. We're gonna meet you where you're at.
Yep.
Because that's what Jesus calls us to do. Because that's what he does with us, right? He comes and meets us where we're at.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
and we need to reflect that we are going to be where they need us at the moment in time.
Yes, absolutely. And on the flip side of that, in the sense that one, there's not even the care, post-abortion. If you go to a Planned Parenthood or wherever, you don't get the post-op counseling or
Right.
care. And then the other thing that we often say is you don't get the full picture. Right now, if you're paying attention to this topic in the news, there's the telehealth, and they'll mail you the abortion pill, and there's, so it's like, we live in a day and age of instant gratification. Like, well, I got this problem and I got this baby, and so how can I get rid of this as quickly and painlessly and not let anybody know as possible? And so they have, and don't even get me started, we'll talk about this next week, where the abortion pill came from. Anyways, and so they, a one and done, take this pill or take this series of pills, and no big deal. But what they don't share is the risks of those drugs, or even the risk of an abortion. And so, and I've had friends, I've had friends, even students I used to mentor, who have argued with me or argued with us, well, delivering a baby is life threatening or risky. And I understand what he's saying. I think he's in the medical field too. This one gentleman used to be a sweet kid in the lunchroom back in the day. Love him, seriously, still love him. But what's so interesting is how that's what they'll throw that in your face. Of course, you hear rarely of women who, pass in childbirth or have a complication. I had a complication. After my twins were born, it's getting hot in here. After my twins were born, I ended up hemorrhaging, and actually had to have a DNC. And we can talk more about those things next week and go into a little more factual things about DNCs. And you can have a DNC without an abortion, even with an abortion restriction or whatever. But we don't share the risk of a baby isn't intended to be pulled from the womb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or if you're pregnant and you're doing a telehealth appointment and they're giving the abortion pill, and they don't share the risks that you could hemorrhage to death. Because a miscarriage, if you've ever had a miscarriage, and those of you on here who have, or someone who has, it can be a scary experience. You know what I mean? And it's, even if it's not a complicated miscarriage, it can be scary. You know what I mean? And we won't go into any details, but you don't hear the risks, or even know that there have been women, unfortunately, that have passed away from either a botched abortion or the abortion pill, and they didn't know
Right.
to get to the ER. They didn't know, so that's something we feel strongly about too. And people can argue statistics. Well, not very many women have that risk. We can apply that argument then again to just like very few women die in childbirth or have complications in childbirth. But we just, again, you don't hear the full facts.
Yeah.
You don't hear the whole risks. And like Billy said, the whole point of pro-life is women don't usually hear all their options, nor do they know that they have resources. In most cities and communities, I mean, you can walk 100 yards to your closest church, right? And most churches are connected with some form of help that you could get from the church. And that's our heart too. The church, I'm not going to get started on that, but the church needs to be deregulated so that the church can be the church.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say. Anyways.
That'll be our 4th episode.
Yeah. I won't have coffee on that day because I think my blood pressure would be like, woo. But I'm just kidding. But yeah. So our heart is that we just want women to know all their options.
Yep.
And we completely understand. I've sat in that appointment. I've sat at the table with doctors and specialists who walked my husband and I through, what at a 20-week abortion would look like for our son Gabe when I was pregnant. And we've they told us, they said, unfortunately, he's not going to live outside of the womb. It's not viable, not compatible. So the best decision for you is to terminate. What that looks like at 20 weeks is we will go in and induce labor, you know what I mean? And then we'll go in. They literally walked us through what is full dismemberment is pulling at 20 weeks, because the baby's, it's not very big, but a baby's got all his parts, his head, his arms, legs, and torso and everything. And so my husband and I weren't okay with that. And so, regardless of the outcome with the complication he had, thankfully I knew my options. I knew, okay, well, if I had an abortion, then that would be the end of our son Gabe. Or, you know what? Let's trust God and play this out, see what happens. And there are just women who don't know that there's people there and resources to help. So that's what we want.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, 2 years ago we did a community outreach event at Oregon State University, and we were talking to these college kids about, wanting to do maternity homes. So if a girl does find herself in a situation that she has a place to live during her pregnancy and a year after, and the support that they get, and the ability to continue their education without being told either you have the baby and you drop out of school, or you abort your baby and you stay in school, because obviously there's no options in that. And these students were like, "You would do that? Like, that's an option?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, they were so amazed.
And it's funny because our experience is like, the guys were so excited to hear about that. They're like, that is so cool. There's so many support from young men, and it's just disheartening how we've, as a society, have
men don't have a say,
right, or degrade them and just tell them how horrible they really are, and it's not. There's men that find themselves in these situations too, and they want to do the right thing. So that's our heart.
Yeah.
We're super excited for this new venture because, when you let Jesus take the wheel, he's usually full speed ahead.
Amen. Amen. And then he'll divert you, or like make you pivot, Yeah. So we're excited. So next week we will be more hard-hitting facts. I have some resources to provide for you. One of our favorite people to go to is Lila Rose at Live Action. Because you go to liveaction.org, and right there it's like all the facts on abortion, backed with sources and cited with sources. You can follow Abby Johnson, who used to be an abortion doctor, abortion nurse, provider.
Worked at provider, but she was like a consultant, or she worked her way from the ranks, from walking women from the parking lot all the way working up into the office. And she too will tell you her abortion stories, and how just one day it just clicked for her, and she was like,
that's a person.
What did I do? I mean, with a family who was against what she was doing, she was still doing it. So if you're willing to actually listen to someone's true story, she would be a great person to listen to. I know a lot of times this is like, well, that's just what you heard. Be willing. We don't like what the other side has to say, right? We don't agree with what they say, but we're willing to listen. You send us information, we will read it.
Absolutely.
I'm asking you to listen to me and read what I have, we're gonna respect you enough to do the same thing for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny because you were just sharing, we've been there. I think when I was kind of putting notes together for even today or the next few messages, there's a lot of pro-life organizations. Like, we do love Abby Johnson, we do love Lila Rose. There's I just watched the 1916 Project documentary, which I highly recommend. We're not getting paid to say that, although if Seth Gruber, if you watch, we love you.
Yes.
And White Rose Resistance and everybody like that. And so there's a lot of amazing, passionate pro-life movements, and we are one as well. What I feel like sets us apart, and there are others similar to us, but what sets us apart is we lived this.
Yeah.
This is our story. So like Seth Gruber was raised by a family that was very pro-life and politically involved, and Lila Rose is a really staunch pro-life Catholic Christian, and also I think has a background in just activism. and things of that nature. And then again, Abby Johnson was a Planned Parenthood worker, and then, like you said, had a coming to Jesus moment, if you will, and then realizing what she was doing. And so, and she had an abortion herself, but it's so she can speak to that. But the Lord's really made it clear that what makes the Glorify Project unique is it's a movement of women who have literally walked out all these arguments around the topic of abortion. So so we're excited next week. Bring some facts, and like Billy said, have your questions. We want a dialogue. We should be having this conversation. The church and those grounded in Jesus should be willing to have these conversations, because if Jesus, he's here in us. But if Jesus were here in the flesh having his cup of coffee with us, he would want to have a conversation and love on you. You know what I mean? So that's our heart. And so we just love you guys. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Laurel. Thank you for popping
Laurel, thank you for kind of being our little side producer there.
Yeah, appreciate it. You're hired.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, exactly. Well, we love you guys. We'll be back. Feel free to, comment the page. Do a little bit of homework. Come with your questions and, vote. Please vote. We're not going to tell you who to vote for per se.
But we're going to be nice about it.
Right. But definitely vote. Do your due diligence. If you're a Christian, especially the number of Christians that aren't voting, it's not acceptable, you guys.
Yes.
Got to vote. So I love you. We love you.
We love you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. Hey.
We're still here, guys.
I guess it's not touchscreen. I forgot. It's not my tablet.